Assalamu alaikum, very warm welcome ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tawseeq Aziz and you guys are watching Baithak TV show. Just like my previous episodes, in this special episode, I am aiming and I have designed a very special episode for you guys, especially the workers or all the unions outside. And this program is going to be very informative, very productive for you guys, as in this episode we are going to talk about how unions work, how unions get into formation, and beside all that, what are the benefits, what are the pros and cons about the unions, and how you can get benefited from unions. And in this program, ladies and gentlemen, we will be discussing and we will be talking about one of the very famous, very active and very productive Union Steelworks in Saskatchewan, along with the other provinces in Canada. And this episode is going to be very productive in aspect of how COVID-19 has affected our lives once it comes to our workforce, and once it comes to our laborers or essential workers, how they got affected. That can be by management, that can be by the company officials they are working in. A miner and union member his entire working life, Hunt became a steelworker in 1973 and was appointed as a staff representative in 1984. In 1995, he became District 3 Education, Health, Safety and Environment Coordinator. Stephen Hunt was named Director of USW District 3 in April 2004, succeeding Ken Newman when he became USW National Director for Canada. Hunt has served on numerous national, provincial and international bodies concerning workplace health and safety issues, and served for 6 years as the lone workers representative on the BC Workers' Compensation Board. Hunt has been involved in negotiations with companies in the copper, coal, potash and forest products industries. In 2007, he chaired negotiations for over 8,000 woodworkers. He holds a Chartered Director designation from De Groot Business School at McMaster University and the Conference Board of Canada. All right, thank you so much, Steve, for joining Baithak this morning. How is this morning treating you?
Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm doing well this morning. Be better without COVID-19, we all would, but we're existing. We're hanging in there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate your time, and I understand it's a little early in the morning, and we appreciate, and that's exactly what we expect as the workers from unions to be available always for their clients and for their workers. Steve, first of all, along my audience, I would like to know that how you ended up with this position and how this actually USW formed up.
Great question. So I started my working career, real working career, I call it, as a miner. So I worked in a mine and saw what was happening to workers in the mine, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get involved with my union. I wasn't a real activist when I started, but I noticed some real safety issues that were affecting workers profoundly, sometimes catastrophically, and I thought, I'm going to put my hand up and do something to help. I've always been able to talk, and I always did my job well. So the union accepted me, and I've never looked back. I've been fighting for working people all of my career.
Sure. Steve, I'm pretty much sure that when you guys started your organization, when USW formed up, there was many challenges you guys had to face, many difficulties you guys and objections you guys had to overcome. Tell us a little bit about the challenges you guys had to face in the beginning.
The first thing to Zeke is employers generally don't like us, and nor do right wing governments. They see us as a threat, and they see us as an organization that can actually challenge with one voice, many people with one voice, directions that employers are taking, and in many instances, the direction that governments take as well. And we're able to put a lot of people together and speak together, and that has always been tough. We've been fought, by politicians and once again by employers. All of our working life, and forming the union was equally as hard. And when we talk about what the union is supposed to be, it's an organization that unites people, pure and simple. That's the opening sentence in our Constitution. Our goal, and only goal, is to unite people with one common purpose, and that's to improve their working conditions and life conditions. The end. That's it.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful. Before we actually get into USW formation and this organization, how actually it works and how it can be beneficial for unions and for workers, first of all, we need to know and we need to understand why union is important to a worker.
I think because, again, Tazik, what we're able to do is speak on behalf of workers, and it's the majority of workers. The workers will make a determination on where they want to go. For example, if we're in collective bargaining, or if it's an issue in the workplace that affects workers, we go in and listen to the workers, determine which direction the majority want to go, and our voice speaks on behalf of the majority every time. And by doing that, it brings, in some respects, some democracy to the workplace. The worker stands alone with a problem. They're oftentimes alone. They may have support from other workers, but it's non-vocal, and oftentimes people are afraid to act, although they know what the worker is standing for is right. What we're able to do is give support to workers, so that they can voice their concerns and make positive changes in their working life, in their communities, and everything that working people touch.
Yeah, very good. In different working environment, in different companies, and having my experience working in Canada in various organizations, I have seen many employees, many workers go against the unions while having so many employees voting and contesting and working for unions. What could be the reason or why they should join the unions?
Well, I've had this principle forever, Tazik, and I simply say this: if your employer treats you with dignity and respect, if your employer compensates you with decent wages and benefits, then the union shouldn't be able to organize there. It's the opposite of that. When your employer shows disrespect and and they don't compensate you fairly and equitably, and that's when you join a union. And I think that's our purpose: is to go out and find workplaces that are in the latter category. They don't treat workers with dignity and respect. They treat them as commodities. And when that happens, it invites the union to come in and organize. And you have to believe in improving everybody's lot in life. That's what we're here for. We're not a social group. We're not a religious group. We're a group that unites all workers for a common goal, and the goal is to improve working conditions and working life, and hopefully in many communities, improve the community. We're a voice for workers. The reason why workers sometimes shy away is they're afraid. The employer will threaten them: if you join the union, we're going to close our business down. Oh, we hired you. You don't need the union. We can take care of things. We promise to get better. Tazik, we've heard them all. We've heard every excuse for mistreating people imaginable. And when workers are mistreated, that's where we come in.
Well, that's wonderful here, and we have been noticing, and we have been realizing that how USW, working along with different organizations and different sort of workers. I do have experience living in Saskatoon, and I have witnessed myself. Steve, when employees want to join a union, or they talk about the unions, very first question pop up in their mind is are the dues. So can you please elaborate a little bit about the dues? How much one employee has to pay? What are their pay? What are their expenses in order to join a union?
It's slightly more than 2 hours a month, all told. If the worker is working full time, and there's a formula that says if the dues calculation is less than $5, you don't pay dues. So in many instances, if it's part-time workers, we represent the workers. We don't collect anything. All unions are all different. Ours are pretty light dues. It's not really expensive, and we think for the money you pay, you get pretty good representation, and it's a tax break as well. You can write them off on your income tax. So pretty good deal.
Mhm. And beside all other rights and financial needs and job security, safety is actually and it should be top priority in different organizations. And can you please describe the movement which says stop the killing and enforce the law?
Sure, Tazik. In 1992, in a mine in Nova Scotia called the Westray Mine, we were in an organizing drive. The mine had horrible safety issues going on. The workers came to the United Steelworkers and asked to organize. In the midst of the organizing drive, we actually had enough support to apply for certification. The mine catastrophically exploded and killed 26 workers. We went to Parliament Hill 3 times and lobbied the federal government to change the law so that if an employer was negligent, criminally negligent, and it was proven in court that they were criminally negligent, then the CEOs and the board of directors could go to jail on criminal charges. We call it industrial homicide. And we were successful in getting that law passed. It took us 10 years of fighting in Parliament to get it passed. And then we went out across the country and we asked each province to enforce the law and stop the killing. So our theory was, if we could stop deaths in big workplaces, industrial workplaces, it would also improve working life for workers in other workplaces where they don't risk deaths, but they risk health issues. And our whole idea there was to improve working conditions for everybody by fighting for the most serious workplace issues. That's workplace death and serious injuries, life-altering injuries. And if we did that, that would make a huge difference in the way Canadians went to work every day, and hopefully came home at the end of their shift in the same shape that they left in. So it's a big campaign, and we've been working on it for a long time. I think it's now 27 years of fighting for workers' health and safety in Canada. We're the lead union on that, bar none.
Yes, that is wonderful, Steve. So next, I would like to know a little bit more about the USW. Can you please let our audience know how many existing members we do have in USW right now?
We have about 800,000 active retired members in North America, and about 180,000 in Canada. In Western Canada, District 3. So District 3, for your viewers, it is Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, British Columbia, Nunavut, Northwest Territories, and the Yukon. So we have about 55,000 members in Western Canada that we represent in almost every occupation you could imagine. The steelworkers are, you say steelworkers, people think, well, you're the ones that put the buildings up, but we were born as the steelworkers in 1942, and we started off as a heavy industrial union, and over many years, we've organized almost every occupation you can imagine now. So we really take pride in representing our workers everywhere. So for example, in Saskatoon, we represent taxi drivers and potash workers and people that work in insurance companies, the law firms, healthcare workers. So we're really hotel workers. We're really not limited to any particular group of workers anymore. It's wide open, and that has happened because of the attack on working people and by hard right governments. They make it harder to organize. They make it harder for unions to survive. So we're a product of 19 mergers from other unions. The steelworkers are. So we're pretty proud, and we're one of the bigger unions. We said, well, there's always an argument of who is the biggest, but who cares? I mean, we are one of the biggest unions, and we're proud to represent workers of all walks of life.
Very good, very impressive. Steve, since the whole world is upside down due to COVID-19, and in pandemic situation, how did USW members got affected?
Well, it affected us profoundly. At first, in North America, we lost about 100,000 workers in layoff right off the bat. So it was a pretty big hit. We're slowly crawling back now. But how does it affect us? I mean, we can't have meetings. We can't have public gatherings anymore. And so we've shifted. Although we were there already to Zeke, we're still doing a lot of electronic meetings, and we're trying to get out. We're doing some health and safety courses, for example, by Zoom. So we're bringing people in and talking about their right to refuse unsafe work in the time of COVID-19. What does that mean if my employer doesn't give me proper safety equipment to use? Or what does it mean if I got to work very close to a coworker? So how do I exercise my right to refuse unsafe work? It's been very successful to Zeke. We've actually done a lot of good work on that. We fought for workers, and most of these workers, as governments like to say, they're the essential workers. The grocery store workers, the airport screeners, the healthcare workers that are essential today, and we argue they're essential every day. These workers, and we're really getting to people in a way that is creative. And I adopted this thought when COVID-19 hit. We could do nothing, or we could do something. And I chose to do something. So that's what we're trying to do. We're confronting it in different ways, and we're still representing.
Mm-hmm. Since you brought it up, Steve, that essential workers are not only related to specific one field or one organization, we need to see there are essential workers pretty much everywhere. At the beginning, at the initiative level, when this COVID-19 was breakdown in entire world, we were noticing that only doctors or nurses are essential. Yes, I don't want to degrade their services in this situation. They are essential, and they have been serving at the front row. But we should not avoid, and we should not forget the efforts and the very hard services by other workers in different fields. What do you got to say about other essential workers?
I just simply believe that all workers are essential, and what really troubled me about what government suddenly realized is people who do most of the hard work in our country, the people that serve people, so people who take care of people in healthcare facilities. Why suddenly did they become essential with the COVID-19 breakout? Aren't they essential every day when they're taking care of the elderly people or people with disabilities? Isn't that essential? I think it is, and I think that the government waking up saying, oh, we have to keep these essential workers working, because if we don't, our country will come to a complete stop. I'm glad that they offered wage increases for some of these workers, but I think if they're essential during a crisis, aren't they essential every day?
Mhm.
And one of the things I thought too, if I looked at what happened in Alberta with the meat processing plants, I mean, they just exposed a lot of workers to COVID-19.
Yeah,
And we made this slogan up. Essential doesn't mean sacrificial.
exactly.
It means they're essential, and they should be treated as such.
Um, Steve, now I will move on to getting more people on board when it comes to unions. And Canada is multicultural country, and every year we are glad to welcome new immigrants and new people joining us in this wonderful life we're enjoying in Canada. When new people come in Canada, they are mostly not aware of their even basic rights when it comes to working environment. Um, does the USW have any specific plans to teach and to spread the awareness of the basic rights to the new immigrants?
Yeah, absolutely, Zeke. I mean, we were built on immigration. Canada, North America was built on immigration. With the exception of the Indigenous people that were Canadians long before Canada was a country. Everybody came from somewhere to populate Canada. Our union was built on immigrants. It was built on immigrants. And, I've always believed this, that I don't care where you come from, what language you speak, what color you are. If you're a worker in Canada, you should be accepted as a Canadian. And part of our society is to have a union. So our job is to get out and educate people and say, we'll welcome you in our union. We'll fight for you. And if I look at what happened in Saskatoon, and one of the reasons I'm on this interview right now is we organized taxi drivers in Saskatoon. Now, that's a hard job to do. Taxis are that's a very difficult industry. There's so much power from the employers and the province. It's overregulated, and then in some degrees underregulated. We made a conscious decision to organize mostly workers from a different culture, different language. And what we had to do, to Zeke, and I think this is an important message, we have to build trust.
Exactly.
We have to not, it's not the other way around. It's not our door is open, come and see us. It's we have to go and convince people that maybe culturally, maybe you were oppressed if you joined a union in a different culture. Maybe there was some political reasons why you couldn't in a different culture or different country. Our job is to welcome people, immigrants, and other people from different countries, regardless of their circumstance at home. For example, if I'm dealing with Latin American workers, most Latin American workers understand the value of a union. They're not sure about it sometimes, and they're not sure how to join a union. So our job is to reach out and build that trust level up. Why would somebody join something if they don't know what it is? So to sit back and wait for people to come in the door, we'll be waiting for a long time. And we go back to our roots, Tizzy. Again, our union was built on immigration. So we sometimes forget that. Our job is to ensure that we don't.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, Steve, as we've discussed about USW's efforts in Canada, and I'm pretty much sure and I'm quite confident that since the world is going in such critical situation where there's no job security, well, job security comes after there's no life security, in such pandemic situation. Um, so how is USW working beyond their registered workers, beyond their registered members, and going over the borders, and how USW is being beneficial to humanity? Have you guys set up any goals, or have you guys measured any humanity funds?
Sure. I mean, great question. We created something called the Steelworker Humanity Fund as a result of famine in Ethiopia back, I think, in 1988. We saw people dying on television because of the sheer hunger. And we created a fund that simply it took 1 penny an hour on a volunteer basis from steelworkers in Canada. The response was huge, and we were able to help those people, and the fund has grown since then. So just in Canada alone, if there's, for example, forest fires in northern Saskatchewan, we provided relief for workers in northern Saskatchewan, and especially in Indigenous villages that had been affected by forest fires. We provided relief for them. Floods in southern Saskatchewan, we provided relief. Every year, we fund food banks across the country. So well in excess of $100,000 or $150,000 now to food banks to feed people that in a Canada as affluent, or a country as affluent as Canada can't afford to buy food. So we do that. We do relief around the world. So any famine, flood, earthquake, we oftentimes are there. Albeit we don't compete with some of the big care organizations, but we do think and care about people around the world. And once again, Tazik, that's because many of our members come from around the world. So they may have family or friends or relatives that are being affected somewhere in the world. So we're happy to do that. It's kind of like being a world citizen. We just can't close our doors and ignore it.
Exactly. No, that is wonderful, and that is very impressive, Steve. That this is actually you guys are setting the example that we have to go beyond our personal interests, and we have to open the doors for other people, and we have to avail ourselves, always willing to help to other people, whether they are registered with USW or not. So that is quite impressive. Steve, when somebody is registered with USW, when there's a worker, he is already a member of a union. We're not going to talk about USW in this question, but in general, if a worker is not a member to a union, and they start to form a union organization within the company, and in the process of organizing that union, the employee gets fired, how can a union beneficent for that worker?
It's a great question, and one of the hardest things, I spoke to this earlier, is fear. What prevents people from joining a union? So we've taken a very strong position as steelworkers, probably one of the strongest in the entire labor movement. If we're in an organizing drive and we sign somebody, we will represent that person or persons at the Labor Relations Board and argue that the employer discharged the person for anti-union animus, it's called, and we will fight to the bitter end to ensure that person gets their job back or is compensated for the loss of their job. I will not say that we win every case, but where there's where an employer is caught persecuting a worker for exercising their right to join a union in Canada, their right, we will stand with that person to ensure their rights are protected. Always.
Very good, very good, Steve. I really enjoyed having you in Baithak, and I'm quite confident that this Baithak, today's Baithak with you it is going to be very productive and very informative for my audience. We definitely learned a lot in short Baithak. So first of all, I appreciate and I'm grateful to you for your precious time early this morning. So before I let you go, Steve, any message for our workers, for our USW members, actually, and especially the new immigrant?
Sure. I mean, first off, to all workers across the country, around the world, stay safe. Always stay safe, and no job is worth your life or your health. So that's a constant message that we give. And if anybody's looking for a union, we're available. Call our offices, talk to people, find out about us, and don't be shy. I mean, nobody will Nobody will attack you or suggest anything wrong. It's all in confidence. If somebody wants to talk about joining a union, you call somebody. Nobody knows. No boss will ever know. Even when we sign membership cards, it's confidential. The bosses never see that. So that's a good thing.
Exactly. Uh, Via this Baithak platform, I personally would encourage people who are struggling with their working environment or the mismanagement or anything they at work, they're feeling insecure. I would personally strongly recommend them to contact USW. Steve, very last but certainly not the least, how workers or how members can contact USW, since this program is going to be in Saskatchewan along with the other prairie provinces. Who are the USW's representative in Saskatchewan and other provinces?
We have Derek Kruger in Saskatoon and Patrick Vigneault in Regina. So we have two offices in the two biggest cities. We also have an office in Prince Albert that people can reach. But we're almost in every community in the province. So if somebody's looking for a steelworker, find somebody and talk to them, or call one of our offices and have a chat. Have a chat. Find out. All it takes is a call.
If we can state any contact information like official email or website?
The website is usw.ca in District 3. There's a website there where somebody can write in as well. So usw.ca District 3. And we have an organizing link in there as well. So if somebody's interested, they can access that and we'll get a hold of them. And it's confidential once again.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It was an honor to have you on Baithak, Steve.
Thank you, Tazik. Thank you very much.